Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Act Early DC virtual family event. My name is Yetta Myrick, and I'm the CDC, so the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Learn the Signs Act Early Ambassador to the District of Columbia. So very happy that you all are joining us today, either live in Zoom or on Facebook. Let's go to the next slide, please, Nicole. So just want to share with you a little bit about why we are here today. So my nonprofit organization, DC Autism Parents, in partnership with the DC Developmental Disability Council, was funded a grant award through the CDC and the Association of University Centers on Disability to create um, a state or territorial COVID-19 response team. And the purpose really is to bolster the 4 steps of early identification of developmental monitoring to ensure that parents are monitoring their child's development. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Next slide. So just want to show you who is on our team. As I said, my name is Yetta Myrick. I'm the Act Early Ambassador to DC. And with me today is Allison White, the Executive Director of the DD Council. Allison, would you like to say a few words?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here and to partner with Yetta on this effort. Yetta has put an amazing event together today, and I am just happy to support it. The Developmental Disabilities Council works to create programs and do advocacy to support people with developmental disabilities and their families in DC. And we see this work as very integral and connected to how we want to support families in those early years. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Allison. Next, we're going to talk about our schedule for this morning and early afternoon. So next slide, please, Nicole. Thank you. So our schedule for today, so obviously we've just done our welcome. You've seen who the members of the DC Act Early COVID-19 response team are. I am next going to go through a little brief overview about developmental monitoring and how you can act early if needed using the Learn the Signs Act Early materials. Then we're going to have yoga teacher Andre Coles lead us in a meditation and breathing exercise, because a big part of this work is really helping families to build resilience throughout COVID-19. So we really wanted to incorporate some yoga and some coaching, which we'll have later on this early afternoon, but later on in the session. We're going to also have a workshop. We have representatives from DC's Early Stages program. We're going to talk about challenging behaviors. Just want to flag for those of you who registered, we did have a workshop for dads that was scheduled, or fathers. However, Help Me Grow, who was going to present, were not able to present today. So they send their apologies, but we're looking forward to collaborating with them, continue to collaborate on this project. We're going to have time for break. So if you're going to, when you engage in the yoga session, grab yoga mat. Andre will let you know what you can use to prepare, but we'll take a 10-minute break to get ready for that. Have gentle yoga. Then we'll take another break at about 11:50 to noon. So you can kind of like come back into the space after the gentle yoga practice. And then Natalie Miller, who is a certified master life coach, is going to do a group coaching session for us on supporting ourselves to support our children. And then in the last 15 minutes, we're going to wrap up, going to make some announcements about some resources I have to share with you all. And then you're going to do surveys. So again, thank you all for joining, and let's launch into my portion of the presentation. So next slide, thank you. So developmental monitoring and how to act early if you need it. So today I'd like to talk to you all about how you can help your child to learn and grow by spotting amazing milestone moments. Next slide. You'll learn what developmental milestones are and why looking for them in your young child is important, that there are free resources. So as I said, the Learn the Signs Act early materials to help you spot and track milestones, and that there are important things that you can do to help children learn and grow. Next slide, please. So there are so many milestones that you can celebrate, that we can celebrate as parents, and support our child's development. So it could be them first smiling, throwing a ball, looking at things that they might be hiding. There's so many milestones and things that our children do that show us that they're growing, and we want to make sure that they are on track with their development. And so that's why tracking milestones is very important. Want to give you a little bit of data about the like why Learn the Signs Act Early exists. So next slide, please, Nicole. So about 1 in 54 children has been diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. Full disclosure, what brings me to this work is I am the mother of a 17-year-old who will be 18, actually closer to 18 now. But the Learn the Signs Act early materials did not exist when my son was diagnosed. And so there was a lot of guessing and a little bit of a delay in getting him diagnosed. So that is why I really think that the Learn the Signs Act early materials are so important, and want to make sure that families understand the things that they can do to support their child's development. Next slide. Additionally, about 1 in 6 children age 3 to 17 has a developmental disability. And I'm not sharing this information to scare you, but I just want you to understand how common it is. And there are resources out here to help you. So once you have the tools to track, right? So what do you do if your child, might possibly have some challenges going on, might need a little bit of extra help, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so again, want to normalize this and get you the supports that you need. Next slide. So 1 in 4 children ages 0 to 5 are moderate to high risk for developmental behavior or social delays. So again, so we're looking at, you can go back one, Nicole. 1 in 6 age 3 to 17 has a developmental disability, and move forward again, Nicole. Thank you. You're doing great. 1 in 4 children ages 0 to 5 are moderate to high risk of developmental behavior or social delays. So when you look at these numbers, again, this is what's happening, right? In DC, in the US, in the world, right? And we want to make sure that our children have the best supports in place to help them so that they can grow up to be functional parts of society. We also want you to be enjoying, your children and supporting their development. Next slide. So what are developmental milestones? I mean, I think everyone who's watching knows that there are things that most children can do by a certain age. So how a child plays, learns, speaks, acts, and moves, those are developmental milestones. And they offer important clues about your child's developmental health. So again, if you understand what these developmental milestones are, they are really going to give you clues as to whether your child is on track or developing, and I say this in quotes, normally, right? Because what is normal this day and age? But still, we want to have those benchmarks, right, to help us so that if they need a little bit of extra help, we can help them to get this. And it's so important now in times of COVID-19 where we have been isolating for long periods of time. I know there are many, children that have been born within COVID and have not been able to have that social interaction. And I know families are concerned, and these are tools that can be used to help you. Next slide. So again, if I haven't driven this home enough, tracking milestones is important. So you want to track your child's milestone. Again, gives you the chance to catch early signs of possible developmental problems so your child has the best chance to get the help that he or she might need. Next slide. So what is developmental monitoring? Developmental monitoring observes how your child grows and changes over time, and whether your child meets the typical developmental milestones in playing, learning, speaking, behaving, and moving. So who participates in developmental monitoring? Parents, grandparents, early childhood providers, and other caregivers can participate in developmental monitoring. So for parents who are on and watching, Your role is to help your child to learn and grow by tracking their developmental milestones and using positive parenting tips. If your child is not reaching these milestones or reaching them much later than other children, it could be a sign of a developmental delay. Talk to your child's doctor and ask for developmental screening, which I'm going to tell you what that is in just a moment. And if you're concerned about your child's development, do not wait. Contact DC's Child Find program. So there's Strong Start, DC's early intervention program, if your child is age 0 to 3 or early stages. And I think I shared earlier, we will have presenters from early stages talking about challenging behaviors later on in this program. But if you can reach out to early stages, if your child is between 2 years, 8 months, and 5 years, 10 months. And additionally, you can call Help Me Grow DC at 1-800-MOM-BABY and speak with the care coordinator. So let's go to the next slide and talk about developmental screening. So developmental screening takes a closer look at how your child is developing. Your child will get a brief test, or you will complete a questionnaire about your child. So who does developmental screening? Developmental screening can be done by a doctor or a nurse, but also by other professionals in healthcare, early childhood education, community, or school setting. So additionally, if you have a concern about your child's development, I'm going to bring up Help Me Grow as well, because they at 1-800-MOM-BABY, because they offer the ages and stages questionnaire for families. They have 2 ASQ, so the ages and stages questionnaire available, general and social emotional development. Of course, reach out to Strong Start in early stages. They also do screening, and they can help you through that process. Next slide. So when should screening be done? So your child should be screened if you or your doctor have a concern. However, developmental screening is a regular part of some of the well child visits for all children, even if there is not a known concern. So the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends developmental and behavioral screening for all children during regular well child visits at these ages: 9 months, 18 months, 24 months, and 30 months. I think I added that 24 in there. I'm gonna have to double check that and put that in the chat for you all. In terms of screening for autism spectrum disorder during well child visits, that should be done at 18 and 24 months. Additionally, screening might be needed if a child is at high risk of autism spectrum disorder. So having a sister, a brother, or other family member diagnosed with ASD, or if behaviors sometimes associated with ASD are present. I also like to share that you can access a screening passport to help track your child's screening history, and we will put into the chat. I don't know, Amber, if I provided you with that link, but I will make sure that we put that in later on. But again, there are resources to help you do developmental monitoring and access screening. So next slide, please. So the CDC, the Learn the Signs Act Early program, of which I'm ambassador of, has created free, easy to use milestone trackers in a variety of options for families to use. Next slide. So there are books, brochures, and booklets. All of them are available on the Learn the Signs Act Early website. So there are amazing books there, as you'll see on the screen. There's Baby's Busy Day, which is the 1-year-old book, Where is Bear, which is a 2-year-old book, and Amazing Me, which is the 3-year-old book. And in the 3 books, there are milestones related to those ages for families, and tips for how parents can engage their children through play and in the everyday to support their development. All of the Learn the Signs Act Early materials are available in English and Spanish. There also are some additional books that are available. So the books, for example, are also available in Haitian and Creole, but if you go to the website to order, they're going to be available in English and Spanish. But everything is available for download and for you to print online at the website, and that is being put in the chat. Additionally, there's the Milestone Moments booklet, which has the milestones in booklet form from 2 months all the way up to 5 years. So it's broken down to ages. So it's 2, 4, 6, 9 months, 2, 4, 6, 9 months, 1 year, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and 5 years checklists available. And then also in these milestone booklets, like I said, in the booklet format, where there are not only the milestones in all these different types of domains, so communication, socio emotional, and so on and so forth, for a parent to really be tracking their child's development. There also are brochures available. So if there are people who are not only parents who are watching, but might be providers in early childhood or in the health field, you get access brochures in all these different languages: English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Haitian Creole, and Korean. Again, to support families in tracking development. Next slide. And then there are printable checklists as well, as I've already gone through and stated what the ages are they're available in. They're available in English and Spanish, Arabic, Brazilian, Portuguese. Again, the milestones are available in all these different formats so that they can be used by families in whichever way is most appropriate for them. What's the easiest way that you can access it? So like I said, if you need to use a checklist, there's a book. There's a space there for you to put it, if there's a concern, if your child is not reaching certain milestones. And again, these checklists can be shared with the doctor. What is going to be new coming up is that there are going to be 15 and 30-month checklists coming by the end of the year from the CDC. So I'll be happy to roll those out and share those with you in that time. Next slide. And also, if you have a concern and you're not sure how to talk to your doctor, there is a tip sheet for that. It's called How to Get Help for Your Child. It's available in English and Spanish. It formerly was How to Talk with Your Doctor and How to Help Your Child. Those are still available in Korean, Vietnamese, and Haitian Creole, but the document, the tip sheet, has been updated and also available on the website. Next slide. So what is new? Next slide. So there is the new and improved Milestone Tracker app. I'm hoping that folks who are watching have already downloaded the Milestone Tracker app, but if you have not, please do so. What is new is that there's an improved user experience, and now there's a prematurity calculator, which allows users to complete checklists using corrected age and the ability to add a photo. Next slide. So just want to go through and just show you a couple of the screenshots. So, what's different now is there's the ability, like I said, to add the photo, the corrected age, because we were getting a lot of questions around if a baby was born prematurely, how do you track and what's the age? And so it has been adjusted for that. So that is what's new in terms of the child profile. Next slide. The milestone checklist actually now helps you keep track of milestones answered. That is a new part. You can see photos and videos of each milestone. The checklist design is interactive and it easily indicates a child's developmental progress. Next slide. So think about this. So basically everything that's on the checklist or that milestone booklet is in the app. And then parents can favorite and get reminders for tips and activities they want to try later, which is huge. We have so much to do as parents, right? And so having these reminders, I think, was just a great move on CDC's part to add this based on feedback that they have received. Next slide. And then there are milestone summaries. So you can view the summary of each child's milestone, easily share information, which I think is so important as parents, for us to be able to share information across various entities, right? So whether it's with your child's pediatrician, a doctor, early care providers, and other folks who are in your child's life, to make sure that everyone is on the same page about child's development, and you can easily toggle between English and Spanish. And the app is only available in English and in Spanish, by the way. So just want to flag that for you, at least right now. Next slide. And then also it tells you when to act early. So it lists some developmental indicators if selected, um, if you need to talk to your doctor. So the app really takes the print materials a step further, right? It's interactive, has reminders, all these things I've already talked about. Next slide. And then just want to let you know that coming soon, there's going to be an online version of the checklist. So we have the app, this checklist is coming soon, which is also going to include the videos and photos, again, just like the app. And families will be able to email their child's results to their healthcare provider, other family members, teachers, etc. So we're really looking forward to this being available soon. Next slide. So you know your child best. You want to share your concerns with the doctor, ask for a referral to a specialist, and call Strong Start DC's early intervention program, Early Stages DC, Help Me Grow DC, to get support in doing screening, or if you need extra help and access to resources and services for your child. And remember, please don't wait. Next slide. A couple of other things for you to remember before we wrap up. Looking for milestones is important. There are free resources I've shared from the Learn to Signs Act Early program to help, and you can help your child learn and grow. And acting early can really make a difference. So thank you all. Next slide. Oh, just want to let you know that coming soon, there will be the actearlydc.org website in late August of 2021. We will be sharing out information as this is rolled out, but this really will be a place that has not only general milestone information, but DC specific information. And this is one of the goals of this project, to make sure that families have resources that they need to support their child's development. Next slide. All right, so we are moving on in our schedule. Thank you everyone for listening to me. I tried to get through as quickly as I could, but we're gonna be getting ready for our meditation and breathing session with Andre Coles. Andre,